All right. So, Teresa Shick of the Pillar Foundation, welcome and thank you so much for coming on and joining us.
Hi, thanks. I'm excited.
So, a little bit about you. You're the founder of the Pillar Foundation, where you were a spouse, military spouse for 19 years to your husband, Jerry, who was a retired Navy SEAL. He served for 24 years. You were an, help me if I say this wrong again, ombudsman at the Naval Special Warfare Development Group. And during your time there, you advocated and supported command families, surviving spouses, and you upheld the foundation of those who serve on the home front for 7 years. You volunteered and devoted your time to various military and NSW, Naval Special Warfare charities, foundations, and fundraising events. You're a graduate of the Military Spouse Leadership Development Program with certificates from the McChrystal Group Academy, Harvard University National Preparedness Leadership Initiative, and Psych Hub Mental Health Ally. And you and your husband, Jerry, moved back to Texas in 2017 with your 4 children, and you've been married for 27 years. Congratulations. And you both happily continue to serve in faith, duty, and contribution to your country, community, and church. Does that sum up everything?
Sounds so impressive. I'd like to go back to the Harvard bit. It's a certificate. It's a certificate. It's not. I did not go to Harvard, but I like to put that in there. I mean, it's a certificate.
But it's Harvard, so that has it's got some prestige behind of it.
Yeah.
And so you started the Pillar Foundation, which is a 501c3 nonprofit where you support Special Operation Forces spouses 2 years prior and post separation from the military. And your mission is to create a community of women who've been where you are. And I definitely want to get into this because I feel me and Sarah have definitely been through it, but there's so many other people that have been through it. You talk about secondhand PTS, all the struggles, pre and post retirement. And now your mission is just to help people get through that.
Yeah, that's it. To help people get through that. It's, you guys, where are you in your transition right now?
I am 2 years and 3 months out.
Okay. So it's still
from post
retirement. Yeah. And when we say transition, we mean getting out. So that could be you retired, you med boarded, you just got out, whatever it is. However that looks for you, it's separating from the military. And I do work with spouses. And when I say spouses, I mean women, because there's not many Special Operation Forces men spouses, at least in the Navy side yet. But when I say spouses, I mean females. And then when I say service member, I mean the males. We were in, it was 24, it was 19-year mark. And he said, what do you think? Should we stay or should we go? And I wasn't ready and he wasn't ready. And then and a year later, we're like, damn it, we should have gotten out of the 20. But we didn't. We took the blood money and ran, Or you guys don't call it blood money. You guys call it something different.
Devil's money.
Devil's money. Okay. So yeah, the devil's money. And we retired at the 24-year mark. And I say we, because I was there from middle of, right before he went to BUDS training. We got married in 98, but we met right before he went to BUDS. So it was right out of boot camp when I met him. So I feel like I did the whole thing. People always say, were you together when he was at BUDS? I'm like, yeah. Why? I don't know how they qualify. I don't know why they're asking that question, but I was there the whole time and the kids have been there the whole time. So we retired in 2017, came back home to the great state of Texas.
There you go. So for people that don't understand what the blood money or the devil's money is, it's when you're at the end of your 20 years, they tempt you with a very large bonus to stay in for an additional 4 to 6 years, depending on what you want to do. And it's very tempting because we don't make a whole lot of money. And so when they drop a big paycheck in front of you and say, and we'll send you downrange so you can get it tax-free.
Yep.
It's really hard to turn down.
We took it. I mean,
yeah,
it makes sense then. What are you in your late 30s? Like, cool. But I don't know what would have been different if we didn't take it. We'd just be here sooner. Our kids would have been younger. because we got here to Texas and our oldest was in 8th grade. So we had 8th grade, 6th grade, 4th grade, like first grade, something like that. So the kids had a good time to get here, like before high school. That was pretty important. That we're not pulling them out, senior year. Otherwise, we'd still be in Virginia Beach right now because I still have a high school senior. I mean, we would have just been stuck there forever, which is a lot of things I hear the spouses say that we can't go away. My kids have been here and been born and raised here in Pinehurst or Virginia Beach or San Diego. But honestly, they'll be fine. Like, you can take your kids and relocate them. They'll be fine. That shouldn't keep you there. Staying where you are. Did you guys stay where you were serving? Have you left or are you still there?
So we just left. So I joined in 2003. We were at Fort Carson for 2 years. We're originally from North Carolina. So through a series of events, they're like, hey, where do you want to go? The entire organization's moving. And I was like, I want to go back to Bragg because I had intentions of going Special Forces. We would be close to family. Mm-hmm. And so we got to Bragg in 2006 and then never left. I retired in 2023 and we just moved back to Charlotte to be close to family.
Okay.
So we spent that 2-year transition period post-retirement, still very much tied into the community. And then we were like, you know what, maybe it's better if we're back closer to family rather than still in the community, watching other people still be special and I'm no longer special.
That's and I am a huge Gold Star advocate. And when I say this is going to come across horrible, but I was like, I can't toast a dead guy every week. Like we can't live in this environment where I didn't realize the anxiety or like how I was in Virginia Beach, just constantly fight or flight until we left. And then we'd go back to visit. And I'm like, man, this place is heavy. Like I can't be here all the time. So getting away, kudos to you guys for doing that. It's super hard to go back to family because that's a whole overwhelming situation in itself, but it'll be good in the long run. Like you'll be happy that, and also they're never going to understand you. And to Sarah, they're never understand what Sarah's done and her service. And it's almost exhausting just trying to tell like your sisters and your mom the stuff that you can kind of tell them now, but then they just ask them questions. So it's hard. It's hard. If you stay or you go, like it's hard. It
really is. We wavered back and forth for years of we're never going home. This is our home now. Mm-hmm. To maybe we should go home, but then trying to explain what you've been through, why we think the way we think, why we have these attitudes and, positions that we take, and people just don't get it.
Yeah. Why do you have such a cold? Well, because I.
Yeah, I know, right? Why are you so mean and upfront and just blunt about everything?
Yeah.
But anyways, let's talk a little bit about you and how you decided that this was so necessary for spouses. So you didn't just create it, you experienced it. So could you just tell us a little bit about your journey alongside of your husband?
Sure. The catalyst of this was because I was seeing long-term marriages divorce when they got out. And I was like, well, this is going to suck. Like, are we going to divorce? We're doing the hard thing now. We're supposed to be like, yay, Texas. It's all fine. But all my friends were divorcing after the guys got out. And I really just started like asking questions to the spouses, what happened? And the spouses were the answers that we don't know each other. I've lost my identity. He's lost his identity. Someone's drinking too much. The kids are unhappy. It's just so much in a day. Like, thank you, goodbye, move on. You've been replaced and you're supposed to function like a family that's never been functioning like a family because you've been gone. So I just started saying, what could you have used to the other spouses? And then their answer, I was just brainstorming and writing things down, and their answers were helping me realize like what resources the spouses are going to need before and after getting out. And a lot of it is the fact that we're so kept in the dark sometimes. I know other commands and units are more so push the spouses into the dark. NSW was really good about getting us together and talking out loud about what was happening once the casualties started to come on, but we're still left in the dark. I don't know what the hell you did the past 24 years. You know, kids don't know you. And I oddly got a loss of identity crisis, if you will, too, because I was ombudsman for so long and then I'm not. And I was a military spouse. And am I still a military spouse? Like, I don't know. Can I still call myself that? Stayed at home with the kids and now suddenly I'm like, am I supposed to get a job because my husband's not at war? It was just all very confusing on like who we were as a family, who I was as an individual. I know you guys go through all that. I mean, but everyone knows how the service member feels getting out. That's the topic. How the guys lose their identity and, lost sense of purpose. But it happened to me too. And I was like, well, I cannot be the only spouse in all the lands that are, that's having a hard time. So I just kind of raised my hand and was like, who else? Like, this sucks for who else? And once I said it, I can almost feel Sarah nodding next to you. I'm like, but once I said, this sucks, right? People were like, it does suck. And then my first thing was since he was a SEAL, I'm like, where's my other SEAL wives? They've got to be near me. Like, or even just give me a military spouse to have coffee with that understands the words that I'm saying and that understands the life that we did. And then I said, wouldn't it be cool if I could find them and put them all together in a retreat setting? And then we can just meet each other. And that grew into, okay, cool, we're on a retreat, but now let's talk about what it looks like when your husband's going to retire. So we pushed the retreats like to the 2 years before so they'd be ready. I always say, this is the shit show that's going to come your way. These are all the things that the guys are learning, all the transition programs they're going through, whether it's the Honor Foundation or Janus or all, there's so many. The Air Force has Ascension. What's the Air Force? I can't remember, but everyone has their own process of walking you guys out. And so I teach the women that very logistics, VA stuff, disability stuff. But then we go deep dive into like, what's it look like for your husband's TBI? What's his PTSD? What's the difference? Does he need to sleep? Does he sleep too much? What does that mean? Does he have headaches or can he hear? There's all the things that we explain on what's wrong with you guys. But then we also say like, time to start co-parenting. Guess what? He's going to come home and be head of household again if that's how your family is. And it's hard to allow that to happen. I remember my kids asking me a question and I just answered and Jerry's like, do I get a say? It's like, oh, right. Hello, you live here now and you get to be a participant in raising the children. You don't even expect that. And then we do awesome, cool things like yoga every morning or stretching, breath work, acupuncture, sound bath, a bunch of like holistic self-care that we as military spouses will never allow ourselves to have that time, or just to be still for 3 hours while someone loves on you and you do self-care. And then you come out of it and you're like, I sit still for 3 hours and nobody needed me. And now I now know a sound bath. I love how that makes me feel. I would never have given myself the time to do that unless I was in a retreat setting. So we basically throw everything at these women in like 5 days. The cool part about it is it's where you live. So had I met y'all 2 years ago and you said we may be moving to Charlotte, right? Is that what you said? Or Charleston? Charlotte. I would have put her on a retreat near Charlotte. I would put Sarah on a retreat near Charlotte so she'd meet the people who already live there. And that way, when you guys relocate, she knows where her people are. Much like you probably know where your guys are. Maybe you don't. But it's nice to go on that local retreat. Like I go to the ladies and that way they get to stay and make, you don't want to like fall in love with another military spouse who's from Montana. And you're like, great, fun 5 days. You're now not my friend anymore because you live too far away. So that's what we do is put them all together where they're going to live or where they already retired to. Sorry, that was a long answer.
No, that's fantastic. And it's almost like you've heard me and Sarah complain on the podcast before about what our life looked like and just regurgitated it. So it's refreshing to hear from someone else's perspective that they went through it as well, which is why we do this, because there's other people that are listening that probably feel like they're doing it all by themselves and they're the only ones going through it and they're feeling heard for the very first time. So I think it's phenomenal. How did you, when you and your husband first started experiencing everything, how did you identify that he had PTS and start to learn how to cope with that? What were some of the struggles that you had to endure?
Our struggles are more, first of all, he will not say he has PTS. He refuses, which is fine. But our struggles more with his brain injury, his TBI. So that was because my kids were little, and that I always say his TBI roared its ugly head in 2014. Like, I remember the day. I had been asking him for a long time, I think you have a brain injury. And I would read to him all these symptoms, and he goes, "What is that? I have all that." I was like, "It's TBI." But finally he got diagnosed in 2014. He went to NICO, and, did the whole thing. But the kids were little, and I'm leaving Post-it notes. I have kid 1, 2, we would always call them 1, 2, 3, 4. I have kid 1, 3, and 4. You have kid 2. And then I'd come home and I'm like, "Where's kid 2?" And he's like, "Aren't they with you?" I'm like, "No, you can only leave so many Post-it notes." So a lot of that was my struggle on learning how to not speak to him. That's not what I want to say. Get through to him, and without me saying, "Remember," or "You forgot," because that's almost triggering for him, and sounds like I'm belittling or I'm weaseling my way out of something I forgot to do, maybe, when I blame him. But we're not, we're never wrong. Sarah and I are never wrong. So it's definitely you guys. But it was that. It was most of the time. It's just that TBI thing. Like, "No, baby, I told you," or, "No, you have to get your own medicine," or, "This is how you register your car." Because you guys were so handled forever, where to go, what to wear, and then someone made the arrangements for you, and then you got reimbursed. Like, all that was a lot for him, and so it was a lot for me to, on the admin side of being a spouse, handling someone who can't remember a lot. And how much am I handling too much? Am I enabling? One of my friends said, "It's endearing what you do for your husband." And I was like, "Is it? Or am I just taking everything off his plate?" And I do manage to, I make sure he sits in the chair that looks at the door at the restaurant. And I make sure that if we go to a show, there's no strobe lights. Or if there are, I find out when the strobe lights will be. Or where's the speaker? Where's the exit? All the real traditional PTS stuff, I think, that I don't think he knows I do that for him. Like, if we go to our 8-top table, I make sure I put my purse and something on the tables that I know that where he can see the exit and the stage, and everybody, you probably do it too. That kind of stuff is a little exhausting, but that's what you have to do. I mean, I know he'd do it for me. If something triggered me, he probably wouldn't allow me to go into that situation. So I'm kind of always on constant alert on how he's going to feel and how he's going to react to something or someone. So I do it now in my sleep. But I remember in the beginning, people not understanding what I was doing.
Yeah, and that was a term that I heard for the first time maybe a year ago. I shared recently how I went down to Mexico and did psychedelics, and then Sarah was part of a family. This is what you can expect. And hey, spouse, just so you know, you have secondhand post-traumatic stress.
Absolutely.
And I was like, I don't even know what that means. I'm the one that has post-traumatic stress. So how do you have it? But you just explained it. It's you are having to manage my stress for me because I don't know how. Can you talk a little bit more about secondhand PTS?
Yeah, and to the kids too. My kids are older. I don't know how old your kids are, but we're 21, 19, 17, 14. So from right away, I was like, okay, Daddy's been diagnosed with a brain injury. This is what it's going to look like for us, and this is how we can help him. Even be quiet, be quieter, turn the music down. His head hurts, which is ironic because he has to sleep to noise, but then he can't have too much noise. He just wants to drown out his tinnitus, can't hear me, but also, anyways, what's your question? Secondary. It's just hard to manage. You don't know you're doing it. Like, you're a good spouse and you've been together this long. It's just part of his personality now. So I don't think anything of it until I someone says something to me, like, "Why are you handling him?" I'm like, "I'm not handling him. I'm just making his life easier because his head hurts all the time and he can't remember anything." I didn't realize how that was affecting me until we got away and we went to civilian land, and then I was like, "Oh, not everyone does this. Like, cool, your husband can do everything on his own." Like, how nice. How nice. But the kids know now what that's more important, like, setting them up to tell them, "This is how we're gonna be now," and they get it. But again, I mean, so many people say they walk on eggshells around people with PTS because you kinda do, 'cause I don't know what all your triggers are. And is it my job to know all your triggers? Yes, as your spouse, but for like you, like I don't know what gets you. Is a door slamming going to get you or not? Um, I remember I snapped in my dream over his head because I'm an active dreamer. Like I get up and do stuff, and I snapped because it doesn't matter. I was trying to catch something falling out of the ceiling, but I snapped, and he was like, "Don't do that." And I said, "Why?" He goes, "That sounds like bullets." Like, that's the only thing that's ever happened, and people are asleep. They're like, "Does he punch you at night?" No, that shit doesn't happen. Like, but does the loud noises, does he have a reaction? Yes. I can't watch a war movie. Like, I was watching that stupid Terminalist or something on TV,
Yeah.
and I watched the first scene and then I turned it off, and I was like, "I haven't been breathing for 3 minutes." I'm like, "Why am I watching this?" But I don't read any of the books. It's just too real. So that's kinda how I handle myself. I just don't do it.
Aside from joining your own foundation to get the help, are there other things that you do to manage
Yeah.
your PTS?
Recently, like, since I offer all these things to the women, in the first, like, year or so, I wouldn't partake. I'm like, "You guys are gonna do breath work, and you're gonna love it," and then I go off in the corner and watch them all do the breath work. But now I've incorporated that, like, you can just go on YouTube and pull up any type of breath work, and I don't mean, like, box breathing, but, like, intentional, a good 30-minute, like, serious breath work. We have a sauna, I get into that, but it's intention for me. I think it's knowing that this is your life and this is what you have to do and manage your expectations. I mean, what can you do? Because what I experience, what you've experienced, what Sarah's experienced, it's never going to go away. So if watching a war movie is going to trigger me, I hate that word. I wish there was a different word, but
Yep.
make my heart race, don't do that. I'm just now, years later, feeling like I'm getting out of fight or flight because I replaced my fear of him dying in combat to he's just going to die in a car accident. So every day he'd walk out their door and I'm like, well, that's it. But this time I didn't prepare his funeral like we do pre-deployments. So that I felt unprepared or ill prepared, but I was convinced he'd die in a car accident. Like I just replaced my fear, you know, which is so weird. It's such an unhealthy way of being married for 20 odd years in the military.
But it's so true. So I got out and I'm still looking to find my purpose and reclaim my identity in something. And we moved back here to Charlotte. And I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to go be a police officer. And she's like, no, you're not.
No, you're not.
And I'm like, but that's what I'm good at. I enjoy helping people. I can serve and protect. I can do this. I can do that. And she's like, 20 years, every time a car pulled up while you were gone, I was convinced it was someone coming to tell me that you died. I will not live that way again. And it's hard for me because I don't understand what she's going through. I don't think, how are my actions, everything that you've described, how is that affecting her? I'm just like, I need to do something to regain my sense of purpose, but that's a trigger for her. And I agree with you. I hate the word trigger. I feel like it's been turned into something. Yeah, we've got words in our household that it's like when we're having a communication and it's like, you know what, you trigger me when it's like, don't say that. The fact that you're saying triggered me. So
It triggers me. Yeah. No, I just same thing. He's like, maybe I can do this, maybe I can do that. And I was like, maybe you could just be a financial advisor, which is what he is now. But it's like, whew, okay. Like that's such that fear. I'm sure she still has it. It's been taking me. I mean, I'm a year 8 now. I'm finally like, I don't need to be so busy. My, I don't know, I guess at cortisol levels, is that what that is? When you're just constantly on the go. I was just fighting the idea that you can just settle and be safe. I did psychedelics as well. I've gone twice now, and I've just got back from my second journey. Those who know the lingo, it's a journey. And this time has calmed me down. Like, my request or intention for the medicine this time around was to just like chill. Like, I just need to turn myself off. And it has been working. Like, like, I can't function at a party right now. It's teaching me I can just be still. I've never been still. I've always been on the go and always prepared for the knock, like Sarah was saying. I mean, because the knock is real. I've been there when people have gotten knocks. It's just, and that's what I did as ombudsman too. Once all the notifications were made, the primary and the secondary, then it's me. Like, and then we plan the funeral, and then we call neighbors, and then we do the food. And I ask my husband a lot. I'm like, what was your timeline when your buddy was killed in Afghanistan and I'm with the buddy's wife? Like, what did y'all do to honor him besides like right then and there? And they're like, nothing. We carry on. We're on deployment. Like, that's messed up. That y'all have to just keep going. Like, that's crazy to me. That there's no stopping. I feel like everyone should be at that point, but
Yeah, and there's just not time. It's on to the next mission.
yeah.
So there's no time to process, and that's why we never want to stop, because when we do stop, that's when all the thoughts come in.
Exactly.
And no one, no one taught us how to handle it. It's don't go home and start drinking. It's like, yeah, but when I'm quiet and I'm not drinking, that's when the thoughts come in and I don't know what to do with my thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
But if I drink just enough, those thoughts go away. And now I can sleep good. And yeah, I've got to have my white noise machine on because it drowns out the silence.
Mm-hmm.
And then the silence is when I hear all the things that I don't want to hear. So,
I've just started to sleep completely silent because he's so loud, but I got these like wax earplugs. I can only hear me. Like, I can only hear my heartbeat and my breath. And my own breath is putting me to sleep, as opposed to all the other things that I needed to shut down, like meditation apps or, literally counting sheep or whatever. I don't have to do it anymore. This is just since recently. But again, I feel the calm in me coming, but that's so intentional. There's just nothing that's going to take that away from anybody except for yourself. And there's no medicine for my brain being on fire all the time. Yeah. You have to take the steps and take the time and talk and be open about it to like everyone around you, because it takes everybody around me to understand like why I am how I am and why I cried at a Christmas party last night. I don't know. It was just too much, And I'm the girl who wants to be all in the things all the time. But lately I'm just like, look, I just need to get out of my own brain and like take a long nap.
I have a question for you. So you said that your husband doesn't say, pardon me, he has PTS. And I fully get that. And I don't want to go off on him or anything. He's not here to defend himself.
Yeah.
But Sarah and I were speaking a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about PTS and how it's a disability. And then we talk about my PTS, her secondhand PTS from me. And I told her, I said, I almost wish I was missing an arm or a leg.
Yeah.
Because then it's a visible reminder to everyone that there's a permanent disability. Because she always talks about how I can pick you up off the floor, but I can't keep carrying you. I need you to carry me every once in a while. When we started using that analogy of how hard it is, because it's like my missing appendage is somewhere up in my brain and you can't see it, so you forget it's there. And it's this back and forth of just feeling as though if people could just see that I was on crutches, there would be a little bit more empathy. But because they don't see the crutches, it's like, oh, he's fine. Why are you the way you are? Why don't you just act this way? Why don't you just be this way? And, permanent disabled and I've got the handicap sticker, and I'm just waiting for the day someone asks me why I'm parking in a handicap spot because I'm going to unload on them and let them know. So I pity the person that ever does. But I'm curious on your thoughts on that statement.
He says the same thing. He's like, I'm not missing anything. And, I feel, I completely understand what you're saying, because to the average person, they wonder, why do you save a seat with him with his, face to the door? Like, they just wonder, like, why are you doing all these steps for him? Why can't he just manage? Like, he can, but it's really hard. Like, if we're missing a leg or an arm or both legs, I'd have a ramp at the front door. So all we do is provide a ramp, but it's for your brain. And he really had a hard time getting the 100% also. He's like, I don't deserve that. I was like, well, honey, you do. First of all, you're broken in so many places. And mainly, it's the brain injury is the main concern. It's really hard for people to see. And I'm not the person with it. I can imagine how frustrating that is for you to say, why are you parking here? Because I have 5 minutes in this store before I lose my shit on you people. You want me out of here as soon as you can. I don't want to be here at all. He hates going shopping. It's so funny. You guys sound a lot alike. It is hard. It's hard to describe. And sometimes I just don't, because you don't need to know, but it's kind of neat to also spread awareness of it too. He has a brain injury and this is leading to this, and this is why he is how he is. But then people ask dumb questions. So that's kind of hard to tell other people, the civilians, because they always say, how did you, how do you handle it? How did you do all that? I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea. Because the brain injury wasn't time, you weren't like this for 20 years in the military. But again, we just have to tiptoe around some things and just, it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. I found for me, and I noticed this, and we talked a little bit beforehand about faith throughout the process. Mm-hmm. How has your faith come into play in helping you get through all of this?
That's a good question, because we're Catholic, and he converted, let's see, my oldest is 19. He converted like 10 years ago from nothing to Catholicism, basically. Like his dog tag says no religion preference. So he converted 10 years ago when we first got back to Texas. And then my sisters would be like, come with us to this Bible study or whatever, anything with a bunch of women. We were kind of in the Bible Belt. And people like, please pray for us because our car broke down and we don't have the money to fix it. And I'm just like, I am not wasting a prayer on the fact that your car broke down, because is he going to die? That was always my thing. Oh, but is he going to die? Oh, he's going on a business trip and you're Lily's dad. Is he going to die on your business trip? Like, I just was so like dead like that. We're saying like cold hearted. And I was really like, I'm not praying for that. I pray for the big stuff. And the big stuff to us is someone dies. So that has definitely changed. I have seen the power of prayer. And so now I'm leaning into it way more than I did before. Before it was just like, yeah, we go to mass. Somebody has to get confirmed. Someone's getting first communion. Check the box. And now it's like, we go to mass because we feel it and, we want to be there, and family prayers before anytime we eat, nighttime prayers, the whole thing. So yeah, it's definitely shaped a lot. I didn't acknowledge it as much before because it was just such a scary time, I think. How mad are you at God when people die? And then you're like, that's not the right thing to do. So you just push it aside. Like, when did yours come stronger lately? Or did you lean on it a lot in?
I leaned on it a lot while I was in. So I'm Protestant.
Okay. Catholic light.
Grew up Southern Baptist. Yeah, exactly. My father was a pastor. And so for me, when I was a kid, it was shoved down my throat. And so I knew, yeah, I'm supposed to pray. Yes, I'm supposed to read my Bible. Yes, I'm supposed to ask God for help. But I noticed I claimed my faith throughout my 20 years of service, but I never lived my faith. Mm-hmm. And then I told you a little bit about how when I did the psychedelics, I had an experience that rocked my faith. And then it was, I need to understand what this is. And so it's really been within the past year that I've gotten really strong in it, of understanding prayer, understanding the necessity of having a quiet time in the morning, why I do it in the morning and not the end of the day, like all those little things. But yeah, it was very much like, now that I feel like I'm more of a devout Christian, I told my dad, I was like, I said, one of my biggest regrets is I spent 20 years in the military telling people I was a Christian, but I never really shared the gospel with any of them.
Mm.
And so I didn't really take hold of the opportunities that I had in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it was really within this past year that I recognized how important my faith is. And I think, had I had it this strong 20 years ago, would things have been different throughout my career? I don't know. I probably still would have experienced the exact same traumatic experiences, but maybe I would have done a few things a little bit different and prayed a little bit harder and had a little bit more faith,
Yeah.
instead of thinking I could do it all myself.
When people would say to me back, like, I'll pray for you. I'm like, great, thanks. And now I'm like, okay, thank you so much. And then now I'm more intently praying for people. And I do it with, like, my sister does it with names and I do it with a category. I'm like, marriages, pray for these people. Cancer, pray for these people. School, pray for these people. But I'm very intent on it. Like, I'm really literally praying for you when I say that. And I don't say it lightly either. I used to joke I'll pray for you when we move back here. Everyone's so Southern. I'm like, great, thanks. Or, bless your heart. But they mean it. they they mean it. So even if have you had a stranger stop for you, like, and just say, I just want to pray for you for a minute? That brings me to tears. I don't know what they're seeing in me or why they think I need that, but I'm like, I'll take it. Like, I'll take it.
Yeah. And I think 10 years ago, I would have been like, yeah, sure, weirdo.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you read Fearless Adam Brown? Have you heard of this story?
No.
You're going to love it. He was a SEAL. Spoiler alert, he died. But it's called Fearless Adam Brown. And he started writing his memoir before he was killed. And he asked his wife, Kelly, if I get killed, finish this book for me. It's all about this. He made some really poor decisions. And then he, found the Lord. And then he was a SEAL. And he spread, like what you just said, he spread the word to the point where he had some guys convert at the end of their career before extortion. So his team was the team that died in extortion, but he died just before that. The book is amazing. It's one of the best. It is a war book too. It's a love story, and it's also about religion. So it's great. Fearless Adam Brown. Everybody should read that one. I think they're making a movie. So hurry up and read it. That's so funny.
How did you learn? You've talked a lot about all the different types of support and all the different things, the sound baths, the talk therapy, how did you learn about all of that?
Well, I hire like a yoga person for each retreat, or I call her my woo-woo lady. They're like anyone who can bring the woo-woo. And so as the woo-woo was being presented, and then I'm like, that's cool. And then the women were just saying, that really worked. And then I said, well, I'll sit down and try it. I honestly can't sit down and do breath work every retreat because it does take you out for a few hours. I mean, you're kind of in the zone, or in the zen, whatever you want to say. That it's just, I took the time to do it. Sit down and do it. I'll try acupuncture. I'll try breath work. I'll try plant-based medicine because someone gave me the time. So that's the hard part, is when you don't have the time, or you don't think you have the time, or you don't think you deserve the time, which is silly. That was it, really. Just sit down and do it and know that it works and try it. Try it. Acupuncture did not work for my husband. I love it. Sometimes breathwork people don't love. Sometimes sound bath hurts their ears because you just don't know what's going to work. Never in my life would I thought I'd go do psychedelics. I've never done drugs, but here I am, just going straight to the hard stuff, and it not understanding how it would change me. My first journey did not do much because I had my own blocks. And then like the integration is so important. Leaning in and being vulnerable was really hard for me. And I'm still learning how to be a little vulnerable and cry. And I actually realized in this past journey, I'm like, I don't think I need to cry. I think I just need to learn to feel. What you said, you just keep going on the mission when there's a casualty. That's what we did too. Like, bury him, move on, because y'all are still gone. So it was just that never taking the time for ourselves, and now taking the time, like listening to what my body needs. Why is my heart racing? Like, do you just need to take a big breath and calm down and realize that he's not going to die today? So it takes a long time.
Which psychedelic did you use?
So just psilocybin, just mushrooms. And then we also did toad once. The first time I went through, we did the toad, which is what you were talking about. And this second time we just did psilocybin. I went through the Hope Project. First was vets. Vets really likes the service member to go first before the spouse goes. The Hope Project is just for women. So it's women veteran, women spouses, obviously first responder spouses, and first responder women. So it's all just women. That's who they service. But psilocybin the second time. And then, cacao ceremony. A lot of it's, though, your headspace. Like, you can go there and do all these plant-based medicine and get nothing from it because you're not ready to receive. That sounds insane to someone who's not done this before, but you know.
I struggled. I didn't want to go. For me, it was an ultimatum. It's fix yourself or we're leaving.
Or get out. Yeah.
And so I was very hesitant. I tried to get out of it up until the moment I'm sitting out in California, and I'm like, I still don't want to do this. Like, they encourage you to journal. And my very first journal entry was, I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this.
You're like a baby, you're like a child stomping his feet.
Exactly.
I don't want to.
And so my intentions were just, I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know how to fix it, but I'll try something else in order to try and make myself better. And I think that's from the veteran perspective. A lot of times I don't know what's wrong with me, so I don't know how to ask for help. I just know my brain is messed up. It's not like I can go to the doctor and say, my right knee hurts right here. And when I extend it this way, and they go, oh yeah, that's this ligament. And all you have to do is take this one specific pill or do this one specific therapy, or we have this one surgery, and then now you're all better. I don't know what's going on in my brain. I don't know why I am the way I am. I don't know why I do the things that I do. And so nothing else is working. So I'll try this. And then even coming back post-medicine, I realized the medicine didn't fix anything. It just allowed me to be vulnerable enough to take the steps necessary to fix the root cause. And I wasn't masking it anymore with alcohol. I wasn't masking it with real medicine that they say fixes you but doesn't. It was, hey, my brain is in a place where now I can address what's actually wrong. I think, yeah, that was my biggest thing. So.
And that integration is so important. I didn't do that the first time like I am now. I mean, I just was like, fine, I'm going to do this. I'll tell you what happened. This time has been so different because I was more ready to receive and more aware. I mean, because it's not a one-stop shop. And people will sell that, but it's not. I mean, it's not. Did you watch In Waves and War?
I did. I went to a screening of it the other night.
Okay. So good, right?
So it was really good.
So we're friends. Yeah. Amber and Marcus are friends of ours. And then Jerry actually served with DJ. Jerry served with DJ's dad, and then DJ. So he's like in between the generation of the two, of the dad and DJ. Yeah. So we know Patsy. I mean, it's interesting to watch that story. And we were like, all that happened to them after we got out. But DJ looked like a different person. Jerry's like, that's not DJ. I said, it is. It's just, we knew him when he was young and fresh, and then now now he's cold hearted. No, just kidding. But yeah, it's a good documentary. I think it's serving a purpose. I hope people don't think though, like I'm just going to go do medicine and be fixed. So, but it's a ton of work. It's a ton of work before. It's a ton of work after. It's a ton of work for Sarah. Like, they offer her spouse phone calls. I know. My husband is a hard no on this, but he supports that. That's what I did.
Yeah, when I went to Waves and War, I did the exact same thing. It was like I was sitting back in California. I texted Sarah. I said, I don't want to be here. I kind of want to leave. And then I texted her. I said, it's over. We're getting ready to do a panel discussion because we had 4 people there. It was a retired unit guy, a doctor, and retired sergeant major, and one other person. And I said, hey, it's over. She goes, what'd you think? I was like, you need to watch this. Because I could see, it really hit home for me of seeing the interviews with the family members before and after. And so it helped me see their perspective of Amber talking about how when Marcus was struggling and before he did the medicine, and just seeing this angry beast just like yelling at the kids. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's how they saw me. And probably still see me at times because, again, it doesn't fix everything. The biggest thing for me that I took from it was when Marcus is sitting on the beach and he's like, I still have days that I'm depressed. This is still an ongoing journey. It doesn't fix everything. And it was like, okay, so I don't have to be 100% better. I'm just a little bit better than I was yesterday. And that's all that matters.
She told me years ago, before, and this isn't, she wouldn't mind me telling you this, but they were in Texas at one point. They retired to the Dallas area. They're in California now, but Marcus moved back to LA. And I said, what's going on, Amber? And she goes, he says he needs to be near the water. And right now we're letting him do whatever he needs to do because he's having a really hard time. Like, what sacrifice that she had to do again, just to keep him from killing himself, basically. It's so scary. I get intake. I call them an intake call. So when a wife goes on my website and says contact, it'll generate a questionnaire and then it generates a phone call with me. And then I just do a little 30-minute, where are you at? What's happening in your life? What can we do? Because we also do scholarships for the women that non-traditional, like you want to go back to school, but maybe you need a laptop, or you want to move your certificate from North Carolina to South Carolina and it costs this much money. Like, let's cover that for you. Go get your MBA or something that's just not covered in traditional scholarships. Whatever the wife needs to move forward professionally and personally or something we try to help her with, however that looks. But these calls no one really reaches out because they're hunky-dory. So it's hard to hear that a lot. It's bad. It's so much divorce, so much abuse, infidelity. I hate to lump you guys in one thing, but when you guys get out and then like no one's stroking your ego anymore, it's super easy for the neighbor to, they're like, oh, she thinks I'm cool. So there's a lot of that. It's really hard to listen to, but that's where we're at. Our community is really struggling. I actually say I think there's some sort of spiritual warfare happening on special operations community right now. Again, that's if you believe it or not, but it's not good. It's not good. Like the older kids, the kids of war, I always say, suicide's starting to hit them too, which is horrible.
Yeah. I definitely think it's spiritual. And I'd always believed in the spiritual realm until I started to experience it post-medicine. But yeah, now I definitely believe in it big time. I, believe it or not, my ego used to be huge.
No.
And I tell people, I said, I literally had a tab on my shoulder that told me how special I was. And so I know it, and now it's gone. So it's like, it's a struggle, and it's been a humbling process. And I don't know. I know I need it. I was not a pleasant person to be around. And I let everybody know how special I was all the time. I'm going to let Sarah jump on here and ask questions instead of trying to pass me notes of important things that she thinks should be asked.
You're doing it wrong.
I know. And so I would like to give her an opportunity to ask a few questions from her perspective that I'm sure other spouses are listening going, oh, I just wish he would have asked this because I'm oblivious to it. That's why I'm asking you questions, because if I understood it, then we would be perfectly fine and happy all the time. So I'm going to give her a second to jump on and ask you a few questions.
Yay.
Okay. Hello.
Guest speaker.
Yes, I didn't know I was going to have to hop on here. But so for me, since you guys were just talking about the video or the movie, one of the things I thought was very good and interesting and hit me was saying that it was the son talking, Marcus's son. And he said, our whole family was always so focused on our dad's healing, nobody ever thought about us. So, do you guys address that and approach that at all with the Pillar Foundation? And how do you kind of address that, knowing that most of the women coming there are mothers as well? And what do you tell them and recommend to them for themselves and for their children?
Yeah, I don't think I've had someone who's not a mom, to be honest. Well, let's just start at the top. They're women. And what do? We put ourselves last. And most of them say, oh, I don't want to take a spot. And then I've said those words, I don't want to take a spot. And then I say, no, this is your spot. We're here. This is for you. And then I promise your husband can handle the next 4 or 5 days. Everyone's going to eat pizza and maybe they'll be dirty and maybe you won't have any clean laundry, but you give yourself the time to do this. It's good. But we do address all the holistic care and different modalities so they know what works. But then we have a really important co-parenting session who talks about like how to parent with someone with TBI or with someone with PTSD. Or how to what if your husband's perfectly fine, but he's just never been home to parent? Like, how do you do that? And you guys being like a faith-based home too, we're very much blue, pink, like head of the household. Boys do the truck, girls do the kitchen. That's how our family is. That was really difficult to give that back to him, like head of the household status, because it was kind of me. It's been you, right? I forgot what your original question was, but do we address the kids? Yeah. Naval Special Warfare, Navy SEAL Foundation has a group, and I know Green Beret Foundation uses them too. It's called Headstrong Project. And so you, the spouse, can go on and just request support, and they'll funnel you through the Headstrong Project, which is mental health. And they'll let the kids, and this is all without insurance, like they cover it, and they'll let the kids get counseling. They say if your child needs counseling, it needs to be because of the service member, but of course it is. I mean, it is. It's because of the lifestyle. But yeah, they do. It's slow go though, man. The kids, they're not getting as much attention as they need in their whole adult life. I mean, their whole kid life was war and walking on eggshells with dad and seeing their friends' dads be, killed. So we're not addressing it enough at all. I address it secondary, like let's fix the wife. My whole deal is let's fix the spouse or get her as healthy as she can, professionally, personally, for when he comes home, so that you're both not flailing. Like if you're like, okay, I know how to self-care, I know what modalities I need, I've got my degree or I've got my certificate or I know how to do all these things now, you can handle your husband and then hopefully start to trickle down to the kids. They're definitely not, there's not enough for them yet. That'd be anyone who wants to start that'd be great.
Well, and one of the things that I think is for so long, it's like seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, the end of the 20 years. If I do this for 20 years, then I can focus on myself. But we don't understand that the trauma of the 20 years doesn't really hit until they're removed from the situation. And then they can look at it with a bird's eye view. Because when they're in it, we keep pointing it out. Hey, this is a problem. Hey, please don't sign up for this school. Hey, please don't switch units because then you're going to have to leave again. And they are so pressured from within the organization to always be better for the military that it pulls them from us. And so we have this idea of it's almost over. It's almost over. It's almost over. Once he retires, and then, I even said 5 years out, hey, I'm going to go ahead and start a business so that when you retire, I can focus on my career and what I want to do.
My
And then
turn.
I had these expectations. Right. It's my turn now. But then we're the same. We fall into this head of household, but I also want to homeschool my kids, but I also want to work full time, but I also need to clean the house, but I like
I also need to go
all
do
the
some
things.
squats. Like, I also this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had
Yeah.
the whole, talk about that this morning. Hey, is there time for me to go do yoga this morning?
Yeah.
And it's like, we're trying to focus on all of this, but then, oh, by the way, retirement's actually harder than military life because now you have someone else you have to take care of. And it's a situation without a handbook. And it's a situation I can't read how to deal with your spouse and their PTS and all the things that come with it. Like you can, but still everyone's experience is different. You can read a book about parenting and what works.
Yeah.
I have a degree in psychology, so I can understand how the brain works,
Right. Yeah.
right? And I know therapists whose husbands have committed suicide. They understand. They saw the warning signs, but we have no control in it. But we're
Yeah.
used to being able to control, we're used to being forced to control everything because we didn't have their assistance. So we're like, yes, they're going to retire. We finally have their support. And then it's actually the flip side that they lose their identity and then need even more of our support. And I think that's why the divorce rate's so high. We have this expectation that is not fulfilled.
No. No. What helped us a lot too with that was a schedule. This sounds crazy, but a schedule. So he's out. He's going to work 9 to 5. I'm still staying home with the kids. This is before I even had started Pillar, but telling him Tuesdays and Thursdays, for instance, you take so and so to school. I take them Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So then he has that pattern. He gets up every morning, makes lunches without fail. Not anymore, the kids are older, but while I got them ready, running around finding the lost shoe, he's got a purpose in the kitchen. It's making 4 sandwiches. Now that they're older, like he goes to the gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 6:30, and I get up and get the 2 remaining kids off to school. And then I go later in the day. But I used to go another day, another time, and it was his morning. But having that for him, that schedule kind of helped a lot, where he's not just like every day, like, what's my purpose? What's my purpose? I'm like, I'll give you a purpose, buddy. Like, I got a lot of purpose for you that you've been missing. So let's reintegrate you back into this family. It's kind of what you have to do. That,
Right.
like,
And the battle we faced with that is I went from being a badass and elite person to I'm making sandwiches.
yeah. Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
humbling. That's what he was saying for him.
And but then I tell my friends, my civilian friends, like, well, my husband makes lunches every day. And they're like, well, how'd you get him to do that? I'm like, well, it's a long story, but that's where he is in life today. He's taking it easy. Yeah, it's such a shock to the system. Like, retirement's so shocking, even though you've been preparing yourself for years. But it's just so final. Like, yesterday you were cool, and tomorrow you're making sandwiches. It's just crazy. It's like their ego got smashed too. Like he said, he had to take off his coolness. Do you say you're a military spouse still?
It depends who I'm talking to.
Yeah, because
now that we're,
I don't know.
I think it's always going to be part of you because that's what created you to be the type of wife and mother you are. But now that we're removed from that community, I'll still introduce that as, we've been gone because of the military for 20 years, but now we're back.
Same, we were. I say we were family. Yeah.
Yeah, but in the Fort Bragg, Moore County area, everybody is. That's the assumption. If you're not, they're like, what?
Yeah,
you actually chose to be here?
Yeah.
People are born here?
Same, Virginia
Beach. Right. So, yeah, and I didn't always necessarily consider that my identity, because marry into it either. He's been my boyfriend since I was 11, so I knew him before the military. So what was your situation? Did you marry into the military knowing everything, or?
I was 17 when we met, and he had said, "I'm going to become a Navy SEAL." And I was like, cool. Don't know what that is. Actually, it was like the movie, because that's, that was the only thing that had been out. But I'm not, we're not a military family. None of my family has served. So yeah, it was the same, like 17, this is all I've ever known. And it was pre-war. And so then even when he said we're moving to Virginia Beach, the team is anti-terrorism, I was like, cool, nothing's happening in the world. This was March of 01. then it all just, happened then. You and I are the same, and we are why we are because of who we married and the lifestyle that we went through. We did not understand that it was molding us as the adult we are and how we parent and how that trickles down to how our kids are. How do you prepare somebody for, it's like if you married a firefighter, you're just a different woman because of who you married. Accountant, if you married anything, it's strange. I didn't realize when it was happening. Of course not. But our marriage has been so unique, except it's not. Like our marriage, your marriage, we can talk all day. But to my neighbor, they're like, what now? You planned your husband's funeral before every deployment? And I was like, yeah, don't you? So
Yeah. Don't you have the songs picked out already?
I know who my pallbearers are. Yeah. The whole thing. But yeah. It's such a weird lifestyle.
Yeah, it is. It's very weird. I wish I would have known about you guys when we were going through the process. One of my friends actually went through it, and she was telling me about it. I think we were a year out, and at that point, in my mind, it was before retirement. I didn't realize I still could have registered. So I'm like, oh, man, I wish I would have looked it up back then.
Was she one of the 10th group girls?
Alec.
Oh, cutie. I love her.
Yeah. Yeah. So she told me about it in Moore County. I was like, man, I wish I would have known about that when he was getting out. And I think you guys are doing a great thing getting the word out about the struggle. And it's hard because I try and tell people, hey, retirement's the hardest part, but I don't want to be discouraging to them. So I love that you're providing a resource to help them rather than just being like, just so you know, this is getting ready to really suck.
That's all I got. And then finally, one of the admiral wives, she was like, there's no handbook. Like, oh, well, let's write a handbook. I mean, not really, but here you go. And then not just here you go, like you said, this is going to suck, but let's get prepared so you can be like, you need to be able to handle what's going to happen. It's too easy to quit right now, you guys just did 25 years of hard. And you owe it. Something I always say to the women, you owe it to your marriage. Give him some time, give him some grace, give yourself some time and grace, because it's going to be hard, but it's not something you can't get through. Look what we did. Like, look how we lived and what the time was. And this is history book stuff. Like, you owe it to your marriage. It could be a really hard couple years, but worth it.
And the other negative is that for most people, this hits at perimenopause as well.
I was going to say the exact same thing. I know. There's that. And then, your daughter also is now starting at the same time. We have 3 daughters. My husband's just like, one's getting married. There's a lot going on over here. There's a lot of estrogen flowing. Yeah.
Right. So it's a lot of other life changes happening, and it's just a recipe that is very unique to everyone's situation. So how can people get involved and support you guys and all the spouses that are going through this?
If you're a spouse, even if you're not 2 years out, and because you can be in transition he could get hurt and suddenly you're med boarding or something happens in your life where it's time to get out. So they just go on the website. It's thepillarfoundation.com and just hit contact. It's pretty easy. It walks you through. It generates a phone call. For those that are listening, donations are always amazing. Again, you can go on the website, but I also need things like we need people. We have coaches. So we have like life coaches, executive coaches, resume writers, people helping them find jobs, mental health providers, holistic care. If you came to me and you said, I can't slow down and I need help just getting through the day. I'm like, cool, let's get you on some somatic therapy. Or you say, I want to start a business, like what you had just said. We have an entrepreneur coach. It's called Victor Valor, and she does branding and marketing for any veteran spouse, any active duty military, and even young adults. She will walk you through your entire branding and marketing to get your business up and running, and that's all free to you. So any type of person who has some sort of service to offer them, they really feel like they want to help with veteran spouses or military spouses, then, hit the contact button. Also, we have retreat houses we could use, experiences in different places for when we go on the retreats. Really, if someone contacts me and says, I want to help, I'm going to figure out a way that they can help because, it's a lot and it's great, but I love throwing all kinds of things at the problem. If you have a new coaching style, I have faith-based coaches. I have non-faith-based coaches. I have chaplains. I have psychologists, so because some people really want one or over the other.
Mm-hmm. And do you use all women to help the women, or do you sometimes bring men in to?
It's all women, and I actually try to keep it within the soft community so you don't spend 17 hours describing who your husband is. And also, we don't need anyone who's enamored with the idea that, special forces. If there's a man, it's usually like a chaplain that's kind of been in our community for a while. But I don't have any men right now at all, except there's one chaplain that I sometimes refer people out to. It's just more comfortable.
Yeah. And we went on a retreat once and they had military chaplains, but it was still kind of hard to relate because they weren't.
Yeah, you're a chaplain. Yeah.
Yeah, they're a chaplain, right? So they didn't even have a gun. So it wasn't quite the same experience, and they were trying to connect with us. So I do think it's important that it's people that have been through it.
Yeah.
And in the situation. And that was going to be another one of my questions. How much within the program is faith-based? So basically it's optional if people want faith-based versus secular.
Yeah. And some people say, is the retreat faith-based? I'm like, if you want it to be. There's nothing I'm leading faith-based at the retreat, but the conversation turns to it. Great. Same with the psychedelic thing. If the conversation turns to it, then that's where the conversation turns, because you've got 10 women in a room. There's a lot of organic stuff that happens. It's more faith-based than not, but there's not anything that's like presented unless you want it. And then I can connect you with someone, the person who's like that, who, if that's how you get, some people will only go with the chaplain, like before they decide to do any type of mental health.
Yeah. Well, and I know that you've helped. I'm looking at your website right now, and I know 2 women on it, the ones on both sides. So I know you've helped.
Yeah.
Sam and Peyton were both on one of a former podcast that I did. So it definitely makes it approachable, and know that the people that you've helped through it, and you guys are doing a lot of really good things, and we appreciate it. And Brandon, did you have anything else you wanted to ask or add? I do take over. That's why I wasn't on the microphone, but he got me on here.
Like I said, I asked her yesterday, maybe you should just do this podcast because I don't know what to ask. And she's like, no, this is your thing. You do it. And she goes, so do you want me to be on it or not? I said, no, because you will just take it over. I'll just handle it. And here we are. She's wrapping us up and closing us out. But
thanks to my sponsors.
Thank you to my sponsor, Sarah Langford. She does pay for everything. So that's where we're at. Is there anything I didn't ask that you would like to talk about?
No, I think we covered a lot of stuff.
I think we did.
This awareness piece is what I cannot stress enough. Like, open your eyes, pay attention. It's going to be hard, but it's not the end all. It doesn't have to be the end all. Just ask for help within mental health, physical health, ask. People want to help us. We're the type, especially soft spouses, we're just type A and big girl panty attitude, but it doesn't have to be that way. It is hard. And recognize it, and then just allow people to help. And then share your knowledge, whatever you've learned, pass it down.
And I think that applies to the operators and their spouses. Like, we're both the same. We both hate asking for help. We can do it ourselves. And then that's just where the mental spiral happens, is because there is support out there. The Pillar Foundation being a prime example, but the people have to ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
And
take
we're
it.
too stubborn to do that.
Yeah.
And it's easier than it used to be because all you have to do is go online and fill out a form.
I know. Yeah. That's all you got to do.
That's all you got to do. Or push your spouse out the door and say, you have to go.
Yeah. Ultimatums work for some people, but not everyone.
That was a good one, though. That was a good one.
Yeah, it was. She saved my life. So.
Aw.
But Teresa, thank you so much. I appreciate your time and coming on and sharing everything and being vulnerable.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing now, apparently. Being vulnerable. No,
It's
thank
always
you. Great.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you so much. And we'll talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye.